What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Mind Fluxed podcast. Guys, this episode is definitely one of my favorites. We had probably one of our best, digital interviews, and it was incredible. I can't wait for you guys to hear it. Anyways, we're downtown in Indianapolis and Wave One Radio. Like always, we got our audio brought by Benji Got Beats. Our visuals brought by me today. I'm one of your hosts at Teach, and my other co-host,
J-Matt. Bow.
So, back to the excitement. What I was saying. We interviewed Vernon Cheeks, and he had an incredible story to tell. I won't spoil it all for you guys, but I will go ahead and drop a bomb to pay attention. This man went from 340 pounds to 200 pounds. And you need to listen to the mental and physical journey he went on and the life changes he went through to it, because it was incredible. Josh, do you have anything before we go into the Zoom?
Nah, just enjoy.
Enjoy. We'll see you guys over there. All right, guys, and we are live with Vernon Cheeks. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
Amazing. And life is amazing. It is what it should be. So for everybody watching, everybody listening, you've got a brief intro of Vernon already, but I got to say it while you're here too. Your story is incredible. We talked about you on the podcast actually, because we've had episodes about making decisions. We've had episodes about being committed. We've had episodes about changing yourself. And you exemplify that beyond belief. It's just unbelievable. So I really wish I could pull up, maybe I'll find a way to edit it, pull up like a before and after picture of just your body. But we want to talk about the before and after of your mind. So can you give us a little bit of background about what you're doing now versus what you used to be doing in terms of just your life, the direction you were heading, etc.?
So yes, sir. So now it's I think I just look at life a little more optimistic on a day-to-day basis. You guys knew me from Indiana State, where I had much of a chip on my shoulder, to where then I wanted, to be the man I wanted to be, this person who gained all the attention. I wanted people to respect me. But in a sense, like, I didn't understand, like, the person who I was alone, people respected. And I think I went above my reach to be accepted. And so those left me into bad times, in which I had to realize if you just be yourself and people will respect that more and can see that you genuinely love yourself, like, people respect you for who you are, no matter the situation or, what you might have done. Like, if people see change, they respect it. And so I think that's what keeps my mind going every day, because I've had different jobs since I came back home from college, and each of those are different from college town jobs, man. So, there's, like, when the dorms close, you're off of work. It's like, no, you're working, 24/7. And from going from, like, working in residential life and being a football coach to now being a personal trainer, like, I was already used to waking up at 5, 6 in the morning. So those time adjustments wasn't hard. It was the value of commitments. I even still think about sometimes of being a football coach, but it's like, now I have a son. So it's like, more so now I value him more than anything in this world, really. So it's like, I want him to see the true side of success. And so I'm just trying to build a brand and a name in myself for the fitness world. I felt it was something different for me to do, and it's something I enjoy, man. So from going from coaching to residential life to now being a personal trainer, like, I didn't even get a degree in it. Like, my bachelor's in sport management, man. So it's I tell people all the time, like, you never know what your passion is. Like, your hobby can turn into your passion. So, you guys been doing, outreach and talking to people have been, like, very key leadership roles. And so what you all are doing now is just nothing but, fast forward into God's plan of what y'all had prepared. You just had to change your location to excel.
Right.
Yeah, you change your surrounding, man. Your mind can go into various places. Like, when you're in a small-minded location, you're going to be stuck to small-minded goals that look big to you, because in that small area, you want to be the big fish.
Right.
But you can be that big fish in that small pond. You're going to take up for where everybody else who wants to be a place. So once we got out of Terre Haute, man, we all thrived for the better. Like, we already have the money.
Right.
Just have to get out of that location.
Right. I mean, but the thing was too with being in Terre Haute too for our listeners too. So Vernon, we met Vernon. Josh and I met Vernon in college, right? So Vernon you were like SGA president my freshman year. It's like president of the entire student government. Like you were president of your fraternity, I believe. You were always wearing a slick polo and on the move. You were coaching football. I mean, you were doing all these things. And I mean, you were big Vernon Cheeks. Like you were the boss. You like just like you said, you were like pushing. And when Josh and I got to school, I had teammates, and you know they'd sent me teammates, especially that were in your fraternity. Sent me, when it came time to vote, you know, oh, you should look at Cheeks. You should look at Cheeks. You should look at Cheeks. And I started to like discover who you were, and I just thought you were just like the man, right? And it played a key role in me wanting to be like the man when it came to my school journey and you know doing all those things. But just like you said, there's levels to it, right? So you were pursuing that status of being the man in college. You had all these accolades, but you still weren't satisfied. So when did you look at yourself in the mirror and look at something that you didn't like about yourself, even though you had all these little things going on, and say, enough is enough. I'm going to go pursue something else that's for me instead of for all these people to look at me.
Oh man, that's a great one. It was tough. A lot of crazy situations happened in life, but yeah, it's that's it, man. Y'all get good questions, man. Y'all get very good questions. Getting a little choked up here. Hold on, I need some water. I ain't gonna lie to you. This is gonna get heavy.
It made a water sound. It's good. It made a water sound.
Man, no, seriously, but no, it was the time I got kicked out of college. You know, I got kicked out of ISU. Believe it or not.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Didn't know that.
Yep. So that's what put a fire underneath me, man. Like when I first got out, I wanted to prove to everybody, like, you know, I could still be this man, yada yada yada. Then I don't know, met the lady of my dreams, man, and my life moved forward. So it was, I don't know, it's nothing but God, really.
It was like, it seemed like the worst thing that could happen and ended up being the best.
Yeah, man. I was 2 months away from getting my master's, dog, and got in trouble with Sigma, and a few of us all got kicked out, and situations happened. And you know, once that letter was sent, I was hurt for a minute, but what the odd part about it was, you know, people always say write out your goals and they'll come true. And in one of my goals, I said, you know, I want to move back home to Chicago, and God made a way for that happening. I didn't see it happening the way I wanted it to, but I left on the terms that felt best for me because my life was in clusters out there. You know, I was a womanizer. I was out doing things I didn't need to do. So it was going to be any given day, Cheeks was going to get trapped, and you know, I didn't want to see that situation. A new school, I really didn't know what I was going to do. Like, you know, I was going to be a guy who had my master's degree in coaching. I got offered a job at DePaul University on a 10-month contract for, you know, $8,000. A guy with his master's in coaching, you know, so to now see that I'm like making more than that within a 2-year span of me thinking I was only going to be worth $9,000. Like, I don't know, I felt like God opened up my eyes, man, once he let that situation happen. Because I always thought, like, you know, my worth, my self-rank, like I let the people really get to my head, man. And so, you know, that's why I always just like fade in the back now. Like I just do my job, but y'all don't see me taking pictures at parties and drinking, and I just keep my life very simple, man.
Right. Yeah. So how long did it take you? So after that, of course, that moment that kind of just like shook everything up for you. How long did it take you to hop back into like go mode? Like how long were you like down, like thinking, like feeling bad for yourself to the point where you got to the point you was like, okay, let's get to it?
Yeah, I was in a good depression for like, I kicked out in April, so for maybe all the way up until like July or August. There, once I found out I was having my son, I was like, okay, you know what? There's more to life. You know, I just kept saying, I was like, you know, God wasn't going to keep blessing me with all these great opportunities and great rewards if I was such a bad person, because that was the thing. I had let, again, someone else's perception predict the image of myself. And that's what kept me. That was a gift and a curse in college, you know, because people's perception of me is what made me win SGA president. You know, people's perception of me, what drove me to, you know, get grad assistantships, you know, become an RA, different things like that. It wasn't because, oh, we need a guy to work here. It's because of how you carry yourself, you know, your personality, you know, your swag, whatever. And I let it get to my head, man, because, you know, I was happy. I'm this guy who made it out the hood. You know, I'm trying to move far. I got both sides of the world, you know, can really agree to see who I am. I'm just this cool guy, even though I look very intimidating. You know, everything was playing in his favor, but I was abusing it too much. And so, you know, God can take everything away from you that you feel you have too much power over. And if you feel you got power over certain individuals, certain situations, how you talk to people, how you address, like you can think you can walk like a top dog, but you can't really act it, because God will show you who is, and he could take everything.
Yeah. And I got another question to follow that up with, but this is like a really, really good episode. I already know this is going to be like continue. It's going to get better and better and better. Would you mind? The light right now is blowing your face up.
That's
like
what
you
I was
look
gonna
like.
say.
Is there, we got anybody else or anywhere? I want people to be able to like resonate with you as well. So
that was perfect. That was perfect. I like that. To resonate. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, that's 10 times better. So what that reminded me of, though, too, I went through the same thing, but for me, it wasn't. The loss is the loss, right? Like, so you had all these accolades, right? You had all these people looking at you for this thing and expectations of you, and then all of a sudden, you're gone, right? And it's in that mid moment. And for me in college, a very similar thing happened. Right? So I had obviously the degree, I had obviously the son on the way, I had the track team, I had all those things, and all those identities. You know, they were what I used to form my identity, stripped away at the same time. Like school done, I didn't get to enjoy graduation or any of that. I had a meet that day, so like all that was done. NCAA's like done, like didn't just shy of where I wanted to be. You know, relationship, trying to figure that out. At the time, it was toast, and I had a son. You know, right there. I had a 5-month-old baby with me alone for like 3 weeks, just me and him on a friend's couch. I was losing my mind, but it was like that moment of like depression, like what am I gonna do? And then all of a sudden it turns into like there's so much more to life than this. Like like that switch flipped. And so when that switch flipped for you, you've got it already covered, you know, what flipped the switch, but when that switch flipped for you, what did you do? Like what was the thing that clicked that you were like, I'm gonna go do this and just like go all in?
Once I found out I was in the process of more than likely getting kicked out, okay, I'm calling jobs, because I've always been a hustler, you know, so I've always wanted to find my next plan before I lose my current plan or my last plan, because you always got to think 2 steps ahead of the game. Like if you got a plan A, like you need to have one all the way down to E. And being a personal trainer was like my back burner. Like I had just started personal training in Terre Haute Anytime Fitness by the school when I first started losing my weight, and I was still coaching in grad school, and I was working at GNC. Personal trainer was like really a side hustle. You know, I just knew I taught myself how to lose weight and cool, you know. So then I was like, all right, you know what, I'm gonna go apply for this gym back at home. So I get kicked out April 6th. By April 10th, I'm back working. I'm at home working in Chicago, you know, I'm being a personal trainer in Melrose Park. I'm playing the whole scene like nothing has ever happened. I'm just moving forward, man. And it was cool. It was cool. And then I just realized, you know, how many lives I was changing as far as just mentally and emotionally and physically. You know, that's what drives me as a trainer. It doesn't care about how much attention I get or, you know, who all I can bring to the table. It's about, okay, how was I able to help change you from when you first saw me to when you leave? So, you know, even if that means your self-esteem goes up, you know, you may do some things that are probably not your normal routine. You know, just get back to being a person who you deserve to be. And that's what really drove me, you know, being personal trainer. Then after that, I went on to, these damn glasses are kind of fogging up, excuse me. I grew on to be a personal trainer, a group fitness trainer in Glenview, in the North Shore for Burn Boot Camp. And it was amazing, man. Like, those were like some of the most coolest ladies I've like ever been around. And like, you know, they actually got to see me and I was able to understand them. Like, they wouldn't have never guessed, like, a young Black guy from the South Side, Inglewood, Chicago, coming to like train, you know, essentially wealthy white women in the North Shore of Chicago. You know, they do pretty well for themselves. And so it was like two different worlds collide, but we were able to respect each other so much. And they taught me a lot, you know, taught me how to transition to adulthood, you know, still being young. Like, the reason why young folks, we lose a lot of jobs because we still feel like people owe us something. You know, we want to put our emotions out there. And I tried doing that a few times and they're like, hell no, that's not about to go. And when you think about it, you know, these are the people that's taking care of your family and such. You have to sometimes put your pride to the side. It's not about, you know, race or superiority, nothing like that. Like, you just got to think realistic. And that's the drawing point of to where, you know, I knew I had to change. It's like, people telling you need to get better. Like, you're doing well at your job. You didn't get written up. You didn't get fired. You didn't get a real big complaint. You know, they just want to see things different. They know you have more. They expect more. So it's like, why are you selling yourself short? Like, as a trainer, excuse me, as a trainer, it's a very self-conscious job because you want to push people to their limits, but you don't know that person's limit. And that person don't know their limit. So it's like, you have to find a middle. And so it's like, okay, I want to give you 50 pounds to bench press, Tristan, for like 20 reps. But I say, okay, I'll give you 35. I know you can go for 30 reps. It's like, I don't want to undersell you, but I don't want to overwork you because the what if can ever happen. You can pull a pec muscle, something like that. So then it's on me. Till after a while, man, you know, some people, they know their limits themselves. They say, okay, hey, I'm not going to do it, this, that, etc. But you have to push people to like their furthest extent. And that's what I loved, enjoy doing. It still brought me back to being a coach, but I don't know. It was just, that's what I don't know. That's when it clicked to me. Like, yeah, this trainer role is what I'm going to do. Because it was still being a coach. It was still being an educator of what I like to do. But it was at a neater time basis, and I'm dealing with people who are on a similar lifestyle as me now. You know, I can understand them as a parent. So if they're a little late, I'm more empathetic. You know, if they seem a little more draggy or whatever, you know, I understand more because, again, it's on the personal side. It's to me, like I said, it's a job of service. So you want to give the people the best that you got, but also make them feel, you know, cared for, like they're getting something out of this.
Got you. So you mentioned like pushing people to the limits, not really knowing their limits. How do you push yourself to your limit or to like that next level? Because like when people do see your transformation, like you obviously had to have, you know, mentally been able, because it's more mental than anything. You have to be able to mentally get to that next level and push yourself. So how do you do that? Like how specifically on your journey have you pushed yourself to the next limit, and what's your process to doing that?
What pushed me to the next limit was going in for bodybuilding competing. So since I started losing weight in 2017 up until now, I had not quit, but stopped prepping for shows like 3 times, you know, due to financial reasons, meals, etc. And this last time I was like, okay, this is your last shot. You need to go for it. Like, you know, 3rd time wins it all, whatever. And it was because my son, you know, he was about to be born. And so I said, you know, I wanted to be something better and something more positive for him. And, you know, I really wanted to walk the walk. Like, if I'm saying I'm a personal trainer, I want to look like the definition of health, essentially. You know, you look at me and you're going to invest into what I'm saying because you want to essentially look like me. Like, people don't pay for how educated you are. They pay for how much you care and really how you look. Because if they can sell you off presentation, then they're going to continue selling you off presentation. And some may get it and some may not. And essentially, like, that's almost a blunt truth of personal training, but that's if you want to be on that exceptional level of it. Because we know now people are personal trainers, they get exercises off Instagram or out of a magazine or an article and don't really know how to focus on form, technique, really pushing the people to their limits. But you really have to like dissect into yourself and say, okay, I'm going to be that person that people trust. Like I have, clients, members who sometimes go through harsh eating habits or, get a quick feel of depression or a sight of fear. And so, that's where I try to step in and to uplift them, because I understand that I went from, being 340 pounds to my last show, I was at 200, so 140 pounds in a 2.5-year span. While doing that through graduate school. This wasn't like while I was just at home chilling. Like, no, I was in grad school trying to, finish up everything, and I was still maintaining my meals, and just maintaining a nutritional plan. It was, I don't know, and that's what drags me to keep pushing people, because there were those days I stay up and eat the chocolate chip cookies and eat pizza and go to Steak and Shake and Fridays, the Terre Haute living. But then once I came back home in Chicago, man, I was just like, this is, like I said, what we said in the beginning of, we started off with this video with was the small-minded complex is going to lead you to small-minded thinking that you think is big. Me training at Anytime Fitness, I'm like, hoorah, I think I did it. With me coming into the third largest city of America, me coming back home and actually being able to produce something that's bigger than me, produce something that's, bigger than something I've done, but to show that my environment can produce something great. That's, that's what means more to me, and that's what really drove me.
Right. Well, and one of the things you said in there is people are paying for what you look like, but that's not necessarily always the case. Some people are paying for what you used to look like and what you turned it into. You went from 340 pounds to 200 pounds, and that's why I didn't want to just go start this episode specifically with that, because that's already like just such a visual representation of, sticking to the plan, doing exactly what you said you were going to do, unlocking those next limits in your mind and pushing yourself forward. I remember your first day when you came out onto the field, and I was at track practice. You had khaki on and a polo, and you were doing these jogs around the thing because you just had to get it in. You were barefoot, running, just doing these like walk jogs in the grass, and hurting. I mean, you were pushing yourself, and like I remember yelling across, like, "Let's go, Cheeks!" Blah blah blah. I think Arkel was out there, and there were a couple other people that, like, everybody was like supportive, but at the same time, like, we're track athletes, like we're running, we're doing a totally different thing, and we're seeing a 340-pound man trying to push and move, and you were just doing what you could at that moment, like you were killing yourself. People don't understand that. Like, you were literally just a walk jog around the field. That's it. But you were. It became a point where you were like waving, like thanks. But after like that second lap, you weren't hearing shit from anybody. Like you're like blood is in your brain. You can't hear nothing. You're like I'm really, Jesus, don't let me die out here right now. I but that's a serious moment. Like, because like that moment right there, standing bent over, holding on to your knees or something, or trying not to throw up, or whatever it might be, and you decide to keep going, or you decide like that, you know what, I like this feeling because it's going to get me where I want to be. It's going to give me the body I want, or it's going to give me the feeling I want, or the health I want, because you're either going forwards or you're going backwards. Correct. And for you to unlock that in your mind too is incredible. That next level, you went from doing that cardio workout and nearly dying. Like, what kind of cardio do you do now?
Like stairs, ropes, things like that now.
Yeah, stairs, ropes. You ever do like long runs or anything, or have you got any of that?
Into the long runs, I do. Maybe sometimes a half a mile, 2 times out the week, and it'll take me now like 6 or 7 minutes. And you're right though, to actually feel the change and push forward, it's a tremendous feeling, man.
Yeah, it's incredible. And it's incredible to watch too. Like, that's because I remember like vividly, like seeing you running around, because I already, like I said when we were talking at the beginning, I already knew Big Cheeks was like the people I looked up to on my team were in, in fraternity. Like, they took me in and they taught me how to become this like beast on the track. So I listened to anything that they said, and they looked up to you, right? So I'm looking at this like godfather figure. Plus, you were big, but you were also swole. Like, your arms were huge. Like, you got big I'm a small guy. Like, you're a big dude. And I remember seeing that moment, not necessarily of vulnerability, but of that moment where you're like, man, like I'm sitting like, man, he feels the same way I do. We're doing different workouts right now, but like he feels the same way I do. And like connecting with that. And then now 2 years later, dude, seeing these freaking 6-pack that you got going on, I still don't have that. I don't know what's going on. Like I got to get the workouts, but I just wanted to bring that up and tell that story because it was just like so impactful for me, you know, to be able to see that and then to continue watching like you do that. And now you've turned that into an income and you feel good, you look good, you're making money doing it, you're fulfilling that purpose of providing for your son by doing the thing you love. Like that's where I feel like you're at a spot where so many people now, there's going to be a transition in your life where people are going to look and, well, I wish I had that, or I want to be that way, or just kind of envy, right? But you are one of very few people online today who can literally say, no, go back and look at the start of this journey. Go back and see, like, you can do this. You can make this happen. And that's what this show is about too. Like, that's why we're documenting this. That's why we're trying to get people on and document this journey, because Josh and I are on that same journey, like in our business and in our lives. And we want to bring people up. You know, we don't want to sit on the other side of that little success and say, oh yeah, just do this, and this, and you'll be fine. We want to say like, no, go back to 2019 when we were broke. This when we first started the show, you know what I mean? And you can do that same thing with your fitness. And so just had to like commend you for that, because that's really incredible.
And I appreciate that, man. And that's, you know, that's what it's crazy that you see it that way, because it's like I always try to have that next level thinking, because I always tell myself like, oh, you've been through worse, so, you know, keep pushing. Like, remember where, okay, you had to get up for a football practice because you was trying to make a team and impress others to show your worth. You know, when you had to do extra friends or fraternity just to prove yourself to others to be accepted. Like, energy to yourself to show who you really are. And that's what drives me every day, man. I'll be damned if I did all this work for other people and don't go to my full potential, because they all push me, you know, to do my best and to surpass my best, to be accepted and to pass their classes and to be cool for them. And it's like, at the end of the day, they're not going to write on their tombstone, oh yeah, Vernon was the first to pass my class. Like, no, they're going to talk about what they did and their accomplishments. Only thing that they did was just help push me. So it's like, you have to find what's going to push you and change your narrative. Like, you just can't be that little black dot that follows through the sand. You know, you gotta stand out, man.
Yeah, you gotta stand out. I got a couple more questions. I want to see where Josh is at. You got anything you want to hit him with? Because I got something like that.
Not good.
Okay, so the next thing then, we're gonna pivot. We pivot a lot on the show.
Yes, sir.
You talked about Terre Haute, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's multiple perspectives on this show right now. Terre Haute. So I graduated with 59 people, a tiny town. And when I came to Terre Haute, like, there's all this fast food, there's a tiny mall, there's like restaurants, there's all these people, like there's people from Chicago, there's people from Indianapolis. I meet Josh, total opposite people. And I'm in like a whole new world. I thought it was great, especially my first 2 years, because everything was so new to me. I never been consistently in an environment like that where there were just so many things to do. Like, there's just in places to eat. My town has like 2 fast food places, right? Whereas you were coming from Chicago, coming down. Josh is coming from Indianapolis, coming over, and like we all have our own like perspectives on it. But we also blend, you know, from where we're from to get those perspectives, you know. So like when you got to Terre Haute, it's like, oh, I'm about to be the man here. I'm about to get this stuff done with football. I'm about to become president. I'm about to be my fraternity president. Like, I mean, you become the big fish in what's such a small pond compared to where you're from.
Yes, sir.
but it was like a big pond for me. So like becoming a big fish in that was like, it was like a totally different perspective. So I wanted to shift that to make that claim, to then ask about where you're at now, you know, being in Chicago, being where you're from, the struggles that you go through or have gone through, you know, with your city, and your environment, and where you're from, and your level of thinking now to lead the people around you, and build people up. And like you said, you went up to North Shore and you're with all these rich white ladies and drawing a connection, and they would never expect, you know, Vernon Cheeks from the south side of Chicago to be this super friendly, nice guy helping them out, all this stuff, right? There's all these perspectives.
Yeah.
So what does your city, you know, like mean to you, and where you're from? What are some of the things that have shaped you into having that perspective?
So my city, man, it made me grow up to a further age to where I think I'm not at. Like I forget at times I'm 25. You know, my friends, my lady, you know, we all forget that at times I'm 25, because in the location I grew up in and different things of that such, like you have to grow up fast to adapt to your surroundings. Like, you know, we were kids, 6th, 7th grade, you'll have grown adults, you know, trying to rob you because you look like a 16, 17-year-old guy to them. But you're only like, you know, 12, 13 years old. So some of that stuff, man, can lead you to not wanting to walk to school, different things of that such. So you have to start, you know, carrying your own weight, walk with a different demeanor, you know how to talk people over, have a little bit charisma. You know, I was ugly growing up, so I had to learn how to be a little charming and have a little swag to me. I was, you know, I was a fat, ugly kid, so I wasn't that kid to be like, oh, man, so-and-so. Like, I had to use my words to out-persuade people. So you just have to learn how to pick up pieces like that, man. Like, I had a lot of friends. We did a lot growing up, man. Like, I was suspended a lot growing up. You know, I grew up in a single-parent home. I was just with my mother and I, so I did a lot. You know, mom wasn't there. I still did a lot. I did a lot of things I shouldn't have done. But, you know, the biggest thing that woke me up is, like, you know, just seeing your buddies, you know, dead, going to their funeral, and we're all like 19, 20 years old. In my freshman year of college, one of my close friends, Ron Allison, he passed away. He's like 18 years old. You know, he was 19. By the time I'm 21, I had like 4 more friends that I've had buddies who was off in college. They committed suicide out there. You know, I've had friends who've done various things, man. And it's sad, you know, days it scares me because it's like, it feels like it's not a repeated cycle of toxicity in the air. But after a while, I had to wake up and break my way of life. And you endure that so much, like, you know, yeah, you want to leave your home, but you got to leave your home with your guys. You know, that's why anytime you see people in Chicago who may not look like, you know, from the most common neighborhood, they're probably inner city, and so they got 3 or 4 guys with them because half the time we don't really feel safe. You know, we don't know what may happen. You know, there were times I was, you know, in handcuffs under the age of 16 for, you know, stupidity, nothing wrong of my part, but just how quick we can be labeled for anything, man. Like, it's sometimes you can't even wear certain clothes. You can't, you know, been seeing close friends as I was going into grad school, you know, passing away, committing suicide, and it just scared me, man. And I knew coming back home, I was like, okay, it wasn't up to my expected plans, and it happened so suddenly. You know, I thought I was going to graduate from grad school and go to the Greencastle, and life was going to be great. But I had to come back to Chicago, so I had to learn Sperry, Wayne, Vernon, or Black to hurry and give me a pair of jeans and some Jordans, you know, to fit back in with my society. Granted, I could talk my talk. People don't see you, you know, looking up to that product and that environment. You looked at it as a threat. You know, they're going to symbolize it as a sense of softness, or, you know, seeing what's going on, unless you're just an all-out church man. You know, the only people that'll probably get away with that and won't get bullied. But I had to hurry up and, you know, change my attire. I'm coming back. I'm buying $200 pair of shoes and earrings. And then once again, I found, the woman of my dreams, man, Alexandria. And she just accepted me for who I was. And I didn't have to do so much to, not to impress her. But I've carried myself in a nice way, but I didn't have to go beyond and buy the high brand materialistic things. Like, she wasn't really that type of woman. And so it was just, I don't know, God blessed me with it because we're very like similar people. And so blessedly enough, like, we live over in Oak Park. And, she she didn't have to, man, but she opened her door. And this goes ties back into our story. I met this woman at the gym I was working at, and I was like, man, this might be the one for me, man. And I was maybe talking to a few other women at the time. It's just me being honest, and I don't know. I just kept talking to her. And then she ended up buying sessions from me. I wasn't playing that. Like, I thought I was just going to get a number and try to conversate. But I think God made that happen because us people who grow, we're like in a younger age, we meet people off of social media, and then we go for the DMs. We're like not shy, but we don't like the sense of face-to-face rejection. Like, we'll take the rejection over via text rather than face-to-face. And this face-to-face, you feel somewhere. So if you look at yourself like, damn, am I ugly, G? So, for me not to get that, and we were just able to be close from the start. Y'all know it's true. Like, you look at yourself and cry for a minute, but it's so I don't know. We were just able to click off the start, man. And it just, I don't know. My life changed from there. So I tell every day, I thank God that God walked me into her life. Like, we was even having to talk about it before we fell asleep. Like, we've been talking about it for like maybe like a week. Like, where did you think your life would be a year from now? Because I never met this woman. Like, we're from two different sides of Chicago, and somehow we were able to put our minds together, and she was able to help change me, and I was able to help change her. And I don't know. That's what keeps me calm now in Chicago. That's what, she doesn't keep me away from my friends. I can go see my friends, this, that, and such, but everyone knows I'm a homebody and an introvert. So if I see you, it's for a good special occasion. Other than that, I'm in the crib really chilling out now. I have a son, so, I really don't mind staying at home. Yeah, he's talking to me now. But,
yeah.
He wants to be recognized. But yeah, man, that's I don't know, that's what was able to keep me going. And then as far as what helps me, like, keeps driving back more and forth to my city, where from my family still lives over there, my grandmother and such. But even when I go back home, man, like, I see, like, Chicago isn't just this violent and traumatic place just because, man, it's like the lack of resources, so any community that you go to, even Terre Haute, there's not a lot of people, but there are more resources to get a job, to find some form of, opportunity there. Rather in Chicago, man, every place is closed down, and now you need a GED or a high school diploma, hell, even some, maybe an associate's, to apply to some of these fast food restaurants. So you have these kids in the third largest city of America. They come from fatherless homes. There's really no help there. Hell, with my mom, when I was growing up, my mother, she had to work like 3 jobs at once. My mother went from being like this big branch manager for a top bank to where she had to work at Toys R Us, clean a lady's butt and all this other stuff just to like help get money to take me on prom. And those are some of the things that we really have to live and deal with. And so when we go through some of our moments, or people try to figure out like why we really like these true top hustlers, it's because of reasons like that. And I don't know. I just knew I had to find a better reason and a better state to keep myself motivated, rather than keep saying I'm doing it for my family, I'm doing it for my city. It's like now I'm having a family of my own. It's not for the past Cheeks family. Like, my mother, my grandmother, like those they're proud of me now. So I have to look more forward into what else can make me proud, to make my son proud, and, to make his mother proud. So that's what keeps it going, man. And hopefully 10 years from now, I can open up a resource center in the city of Chicago, because that's all we really need. Like, we're due to our lack of resources from parents on down to children. It's going to be a long-term effect, man, until somebody comes into the neighborhood and not dissect, but bring in a new different energy and wave, man. I saw you know, speaking real to real, I saw a young lady the same age as me, man. Her child was maybe like 2, 3 years old. So it's like 2 or 3 months ago when I went to the barbershop, and, you know, she was just sitting there, just like hitting her child, man. And it messed my head up because I'm like, wow, you know, these are things that we saw like 8, 9 years ago, 10 years ago, because these were signs of discipline. But then you looked at her, you know, she all abused and mistreated in the face. And so it's nothing but trauma. It's nothing but a continuous thing, because if the mother doesn't have any money and she can't really work because she's trying to watch her baby, and no one can really watch her baby, everybody done left her dry, she's going to turn to the man who got money. The man who got money, he ain't doing right. He probably got things of his own, so he's going to mistreat, going to make that sacrifice to raise her child. And so Vernon Cheeks was that child, you know, and I had to make a different story, and I wanted to make that different story for my son, you know, not for the case of, oh, you know, doing what's right, but wanted to see how life may turn out if a child can grow in a 2-parent home and see how their son turn out. If my son, you know, I think some days if he turns out to be a bad guy, things go for the worst, Lord forbid, I would still accept him. You know, I would then just say, okay, that society of a man's choosing his own way and peer pressure got to him. It's not due to the lack of parenting or things of that such. People make life decisions on their own. But it does play a bigger help when there's more help, because then that's going to lack away from the guidance of the people they want to be accepted by. Like the things that goes on in the city, man, and the reasons why I did what I did was because my mother wasn't really, she was there, but she had to work a lot, you know, and able to provide for me, she had to work. My grandmother was a little older. My aunt, she was a little older. So, you know, I was able to get away and do away with things and be more so of like wanting to make my friends proud, you know, do stupid things. And so that energy carried to Terre Haute, as well as, you know, I see people from Chicago or people that I feel can understand me more, and people on that bad side to see like a different side of Vernon. Like my freshman year of college, man, I was a wild kid, man. Like I was a K9 off the loose. I'm just, you know, this kid that just came from the south side of Chicago. Everybody think I'm playing football, so I'm getting women off the rip. You know, people know some of my people from the hood, so, you know, now I'm trying to prove my ranks to other people, you know, so I'm out here fighting people I don't even know, just to prove other people, man, just to be accepted by folks. At the end of the day, they're not going to have your bail money. They're not going to give a damn about what's going on. They're not going to help your kids. They're not going to help your family. It's like you have to take care of yourself first and then take care of those around you. But you have to do it in a respectful way. Like you can't be cocky, man. You can't be arrogant. You just have to let people know, like, this is what I value first. If I have time for you, I'll make time. But in the meanwhile, I can still give you some guidance. I can still talk to you. But I just can't let you affect in with my value and time, because time values. So you have to treat that essentially, man, because you don't get none of this back. Like, it's tough. And, you know, this is, like I said, I'm 25. I lost over 15 friends, you know, to gun violence, over 6 suicides, you know, so like, woohoo. But other days I live life in fear. I'm like, damn, you know, will there be a day for me or things of that such? Because again, the things that you're around are the things that's going to influence your mind. If you're around 10,000 successes and you see $1 million per day, you'll be, damn, one day I'm going to be a millionaire. And that's by any means is going to be a millionaire, so you need to go out. You know, and so that's where you have to be able to channel your mind to just be different, do different, and just pray. You know, like I say, action and faith goes a long way than prayer and hope. And a lot of times I used to pray and hope, because prayer and hope can help you pass the test. But prayer and hope ain't gonna help you. It's a big change.
Damn.
That's amazing.
Damn, I'm like shook. Like, so many parables in there at once.
Yeah, and I think just like in all, I think your story and your testimony is so important, because I think people can relate, because I think one of the main common problems, like with our generation, especially like with social media, everybody is looking for other people to look at them and view them in a certain way. And you went through that, and you were aware of that, you know, early on too. Like, you were aware that you were doing things to look a certain way in front of other people. And I'm a true believer that the opinions of others do not matter. Like, they just don't. Like, like who cares like how they look at you? Because and it comes down to they're not, you know, in your mind. They're not in your heart. They have no control over, you know, who you are inside or your success or your failures. It all comes down to you, and you realize that, and you made that shift, and now you're going for, okay, what makes me going to look at myself in the most positive light? What makes me going to look at myself and make myself proud, and also make my son and my group proud. And I think that's a very, very important message and testimony that you do have, because I think a lot more people need to stop worrying about how other people view them and worry about how they view their own selves, because I think that's where happiness comes from.
Indeed, man, that is very true. And like a lot of people really don't see that. And you know, just as you guys were inspired by me, like I'm always inspired by people by actions. And so I've always been a big observer. Like I've watched you two young men, like when y'all first came in, like Josh, even when you was driving the cool Mustang, I'm like, damn, this dude be to himself. Like this man really be on this swag, man. Like he cool. You know, I watched how everyone carried themselves differently, and you all were two people who were able to connect, genuinely be yourselves, genuinely be respected. You all didn't have to be at parties for attention. You all didn't really have to like clout chase anything. Like hell, Trishan, you went, you know, above your means, and you know you went outside of your comfort zone, and you were still able to be happy, be loved, and be accepted. And so that was like, that to me, that was like, damn, man, this speaks volume of this dude. Like he's a young guy, and he's on it. You know, same thing for you, Josh. And so you guys more so inspired me with that, because, you know, like I said, once again, after I got kicked out, I'm like, damn, okay, where did I go wrong at? But then it was just like I say, you know, that crowd I was trying to gain attention from, where that hell have those people that they're still not even really doing anything. You know, they're still banking on the next party. They're trying to see who's doing the next thing out of town. And it was like, I wasn't at the parties with them. You know, I wasn't really connecting with them on a different level. And the people I was connecting with me. So I was still trying to connect with my people who I wanted to help grow, but they wasn't trying to make themselves grow. And so you can't speak for them. You can't walk for them. You can't get up and put on their clothes. And so it's like, stop having them force you to do that, because they, you know, they're like, oh man, you know, that's my bro, that's my man, you fam. Like, no, like I really didn't know you these 18 years that I let you convince me for that time being. You know, because we was maybe broke, you know, because we was maybe like down bad for a couple minutes, different things of that such. They was there to help me get my pizza, sure. But it's like, man, you have to, I don't know, that's when then you have to reevaluate your scenes of life, and you can entertain people, but you can't obtain people. You can't let them get into your life and control them or control you.
I like that. I like that you can entertain people, but you can't obtain people. That's nice. That's smooth. I'm gonna have to use it or something.
I have to learn that, man.
Damn, Vernon, I'm like speechless right now. We covered so many things that we've covered like on the show, but it's just because Josh and I are very particular about who we bring on as guests too. Like a lot of like we've had people reach out and stuff like that, and like of course we want guests. If everybody listening, still refer us guests. But we multiple times in my life, people have been like, because I've shared like some of your stuff on my stories. We've got other friends and guests who are doing stuff all over the world. Like our connections from us like pursuing our own thing have like brought together more people who are doing their own thing. And so people like will reach out like, oh, you have like a very powerful friend group. You have like a very powerful circle, like stuff like that, as if like one day I just like showed up and all these people wanted to be friends with us and whatnot. But that's not the lesson. The lesson is what you had said is like, you can't put their clothes on for them. You can't get them to do exactly what you need to do. Like you got to help yourself to help the other. Like people see us making that push on our own, and that's what attracts those other people who are, you know, in their lane, but pushing it as well. And it's just incredible to see that journey unfold, man, from your fitness to your mindset to, you know, where you thought you were going to be to where you are now, and how fast it all changes.
Yeah, you just have to apply, man. You got to apply it.
Exactly. Well, Josh, do you have any more questions, comments, concerns?
No, I don't got nothing else. You did a great job, telling your story, and you dropped a lot of valuable gems to other people.
Yeah. And we're gonna definitely do an episode too. We got to get you in the studio too. Sometimes Zoom has little like lags and stuff. So for everybody listening, if there's any lags, like little spots, it is what it is. We got technology. We do what we can. But I want to get you in the studio on camera one day too, because like we really, the energy flow from hundreds of miles away. I just can't imagine it actually being in the studio. Like it's gonna be great. So last question is, where can they find you on social media, and what can they look forward to hearing from you in the future?
So you can find me on social media at fit_VCheeks. That's my actual personal page. My health fitness page I'm trying to get together now is the Elite Health N, just a letter N, fit. So it's, just more so help showing my members and showing their progress and giving other people motivation. And then my last one is Facebook, Vernon. I think it's just Vernon Cheeks on there, and that's it.
Okay, cool. And then what can people expect to see from you as of now? We know it might change, but what can people expect to see from you in the future?
Man, that's one thing I'm really not sure on. I'm just praying that I hopefully have a committed family. We're married, possibly have more kids one day, but I'm just praying for every day just for continuous success. Yeah, win my shows too. My girlfriend has to say win my shows, but outside of it, man, that all comes and go. Like, that's one of the things, like, I had to learn to understand. Bodybuilding is an important thing, but you only get one shot at this family thing, man. You may get one or two, and so I put more value into my family than my fitness, than hell, even myself. So yeah, I don't know. So I just keep praying, man. That's all it is. Whatever God can bring to me, and I just handle it to the best effort. If He say, okay, you need to go this route, I'll go that way. So we'll see. I like that question. Y'all gonna have me write that down. You know what? Actually, hey, where's my book at? My notebook at? Hold on, pause really quick. Well, so I wrote down my goals, guys. Wrote down my goals. Hold on. There you go. Keep a goal list with you. Write them down. They're gonna come. I got like 3 of these, man. Not 3 of these exact kind, but okay, I got it on here. Win overall at NPC Continental. That's my show on September 28th. Get on the news promoting health and fitness. So that should be one of my hopefully things in the future. Help 3 clients reach their goals. I would like to say all, but starting realistic. If I can help 3 clients drop 30, 40 pounds, then I know that's something I can manage. Then that's telling me, okay, I could possibly work with 5 or 6 and be full out committed to them. But when you try to bite off more than you could chew, it's only leads for destruction. The 4th one is propose to Alex. That's my girlfriend. Her full name's Alexandria. Cut down bad habits. So there's some bad habits that I do have, man. We'll get more into that later. It's nothing like too crazy though. Get into community engagement. That was one of the biggest things that I loved about like college and stuff. It like brought the best out of me to like really serving your community, and so really get back to trying to do things for my home. And so that's in like I think 2 or 3 weeks. I have an event I'm doing for an AAU basketball team on the South Side with one of my high school classmates that I knew that he coaches. So I'm already trying to get started there. My next one is to take Zion onto 2 trips per year. So I never got on a plane until I got to college, and that was my freshman year going to Texas A&M University. My mother never got on a plane until like 3 years ago. So I want to be able to show my son more of the world, and my girlfriend helped me, like, I guess you could say, mentally experience that. Because you do have to see more of the world, man. You can't be so secluded into your environment, because if you're so used to that and secluded to that, then when you go out of other places, you're going to look like an endangered species to their environment. Like, you have to be able to learn how to be a chameleonaire in a sense. And so that's what I want to be, man. I want to be like chameleonaire, man. Have my son have that same type of characteristic, because he never know where he can go. You know, if he wants to go to school in Alaska, goddamn it, at least he'll know, what's out there. Not just saying, oh, I'm gonna go to because it's closer to the crib. Like, no, you gotta break away, man. So I want him to break away from all stigmas, man. I want him to just like reach his full potential. The next goal of mine, man, is live downtown, Loop, Chicago area. Y'all remember when I was living downtown Terre Haute? I thought I was I thought I was a man then living in that apartment. And so I just like that feel, man. It's different from waking up to what I was used to. And, even sometimes now, we're in a nice west suburb, but we still even hear gunshots over this way. Like, we just want to wake up to, a nice view and live up to the dream that I feel that's, comfortable for me. It's not an American dream, but at least, just live there 1 year. Do some lavish shit. I don't like, like I said, man, I don't like to go to the parties. I don't collect my Jordans no more. So, shit, let me at least wake up downtown on the balcony, G, just with my arms out, like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Next thing, man, is increase my prices on clientele. So one of the biggest things that I sell myself short with is, trying to empathize with other people's pockets. And you can't do that. Like, you can't try to control other people's pockets because you understand how your pockets are and your limits. Like, hell no. Jordan don't know people limits, and he still charged them shoes $200. Them damn restaurants, they still charge their meals $20, $30, and people will go and take that risk, that extra mile, to get those things. And so if people really value themselves and they value their health, they'll invest into themselves. That's the biggest thing I tell people. It's not that you're buying and I'm selling. It's an investment. It's essentially like a house, and a house can take you up to maybe 6 months to 3 years to build it up. Depends on how you want it to look.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you look at it that way and you're installing into an investment, you're going to get better. And then that's when you can add in the other, plans, the supplements, all of that stuff. But you got to have some groundwork first, man. And so I want people to start investing more. And then, like I say, build a wider brand. So try to get like a nice team of fitness guys in the city of Chicago to just help community aspect on all levels, the LGBTQ community out here, the Black community, the Latino, white community, etc. Because we all short of health and fitness knowledge. And if we can be that face for our community and be that resource, instead of charging $1,500 for a goddamn doctor, it's not going to get us to where we need to. And we're still going to be stuck on taking these pills, stuck selling short. And it's like, nah, we need something a little better than that. So I'm just trying to help improvise and bring better things into the community too. So start dedicating more time to God. I wake up every morning, I pray and such, but I need to start pushing myself more to giving him attention, like undivided attention, showing him love. Hell, if I have the capability of doing 45 minutes on the Stairmasters every morning before eating, I can do 45 minutes of prayer or, talking to God or Bible study. But again, that goes within your priorities and the situations that you're in. And so once this last show is over, I want to be able to start, at least putting 2-3 times a week for God, because he wakes me up 7 days out of the week. And that's not, that's not, yeah, man. So it's, I got to serve him back the same way, because you can't do your friend like that. Essentially, that's your best friend. That's your close person. So you got to respect it. And my last one is continue being a great dad for Zion. Just keep doing the best I can for him, man. So,
yeah, but you got it written out. That's the thing. For everybody listening, we're talking about Vernon having all these identities to then being this influence in a totally different way. We talk about him having it all to losing it all to starting to get it back again where he wants to be. You talk about being 340 pounds to 200 pounds. It's not just what you look like or what you do. It's how you think. That's what this show is about. It's about changing your mind and how you think. And I guarantee you were not writing your goals down every day and carrying a little pocketbook around when you were doing stuff that you shouldn't have been doing.
Nah. Different.
So it's little stuff like that. And I think that's why there's so many little lessons in this episode that people can really pull from. And I am extremely excited to release it once we do, because it's gonna be incredible. So thank you for your time, man. thank you for your time, man. Do you have any last things before we go back into the studio?
No, sir. I thank you for your time, man. I thank you for your patience. Like I said, my time may be a little crazy, man, but I had appreciated you reaching out to me about this in the beginning. And so I was excited, man. Like, I wanted to be able to tell my current story to someone. And, you know, you are the first one from the university that's not an administrator, you know, to actually hear it. And, you know, to get that off my chest, man, it feels good, and hopefully I can inspire someone else to get to it.
Hey, little man. I'm glad we got to finish it off seeing the little dude, too. He's good balance in his head.
Yeah, he just be moving, man.
That's awesome, man. So thank you so much. We're going to head back into the studio and wrap this episode up. See you, Vernon.
All right. See you, man. Hey, thank you again, guys. All right.
Boom. And we're back. Wow. So, Josh, initial thoughts from Vernon's story. What were some of the feelings you had after that interview? Some of the thoughts going through your mind.
What I like most was that, because I think it's relatable to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically that, you know, in the beginning, just throughout his life, before he went on this, you know, change, he was actively trying to look good in the eyes of others, which I think a lot of people do, especially with the prevalence and the relevancy of social media. People are always trying to showcase and show what they're doing to impress others, either consciously or even subconsciously. Everybody does it. It's just human that you want to look your best. But he, you know, he was aware of that, and he decided to switch it and start, you know, figuring out internally what will make him proud for himself and not do things for other people, because now his life changed where, you know, he has a kid, he has a girl that he has to take care of. So anybody's opinions, you know, other than those people aren't really relevant. And, you know, making that decision, he changed his life. You know, he transformed and he's on a new path now.
Right. And one of the coolest things that I think too is like some of his accolades during that, he was trying to impress other people, and he was still doing what would be looked at as, you know, good things. You know, he's president of his fraternity. He was SGA president. He was coaching football. He was trying to, you know, play football. He's doing all these little things. And with his, you know, health was slipping, you know, and he had a switch flip for himself, just like you said. But what I thought was really cool about that exact same thing was his transition of responsibility from one, he took responsibility for himself, how he felt, how he looked, how he thought, how he talked, everything. He took total and complete responsibility for himself. That siren was really cool when it went by like the flash. He took total responsibility for himself, and then has also taken the responsibility for the well-being of others, but knowing that like that you have to kind of accept them as they are. So he said two things on the show that I think that everybody could apply to any relationship right now. He was talking when he was talking about his relationship. He said, you know, she accepts me for the brokenness, you know, that I am, and I accept her, and we help each other get better. That can be applied to business relationship, to your parents, to siblings, to friends. It can be applied to anything, to just like chill. Like accept each other, man, and like move forward. Like that's a lot deep. I'm not gonna go super deep into it, but that's a big shift for him to have. And the second thing is he said about his son. He said there's never gonna be a lack of parenting. He's gonna grow up into his own man and make his own decisions. And a lot of people are like, well, when I have kids, they're gonna do this or they're gonna have this. It's like, nah, you really don't know. But he's gonna do the best he can. And having that total responsibility, those two things of, you know, his total responsibility for himself and then the well-being of others, if and when he can provide, is something that I think a lot of people wait to transform into. They expect to do it when they're like grandparents or something. And he's doing it now at a young age. So shout out to Vernon, man. Shout out to Big Cheeks. Like, he really is carving his own path. He's doing things, you know, his own way, but leading really just by example. And I encourage, you know, everybody listen to this, you know, follow him on his social media, listen to things that he talks about in the posts about, because he has went through it. If you're in a fitness journey, if you're in a physical journey, like a relationship journey, and anything you can imagine, if you heard his story, he's been through it. So he's just somebody we would definitely recommend you guys check out and listen to, and continue to think about those little golden nuggets that he dropped, because they could change your life.
Mm-hmm.
You got anything else?
Nope.
Boom. So that was episode 29.
Yep.
Episode 29 in the books.
We moving.
So guys, as always, you can find us at MindFluxed on everything, everywhere. That's at MINDFLUXED. And please refer a friend. We have a show that is specifically around thinking for yourself, for thinking independently, for bringing people up around you as your own individual. You know, rising tides raise all ships. So refer a friend to our social, and follow us at Benji Got Beats audio on everything. He's just been killing it with consistency. It's amazing. I'm one of your hosts at T-Parm Teach, and our other host.
Find me at im.jmatt. Forget the bow.
Bow. All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
Peace.